Welcome back to the Adventures of Happy Hours. In this episode, we've arrived at Oyster Bay, New York, and we're about to tackle the infamous Sandhold.
Heading into the Sandhole. Wish us luck.
The Sandhole is a partially man-made cove that's at the northeastern end of Oyster Bay Inlet. The cove is very popular with local boaters, but it's quite difficult to navigate, getting through the small, narrow, and shallow channels. However, once inside, you're rewarded with deep water, wonderful views, and a nice, semi-private beach.
That's what greets you when you try to enter this inlet. We're about an hour past low tide, so tide's coming in. You can see the rock jetty. That's completely submerged at high tide, so if you don't know about it, it'll end your day real quick. Really skinny. But Navionics says it's navigable.
The Navionics boating app is indispensable for finding local knowledge and previous navigators who ventured into this cove. It's definitely worthwhile to scroll through all the comments before entering and have a game plan before you arrive on site.
You can see the boats that are inside. If they got in, it should be right. 12 feet.
On initial entry, stay well north of the jetty. We were venturing in really slow, and it was a pretty strong wind, so it started blowing the bow off course. I started to get a little nervous at this point, but then it started getting deeper again.
5.5, 6.
The water is pretty clear at this point, and you can see down a few feet. I don't know if that made me more nervous. It was a combination of the wind and me fearing getting too close to the port side, but this is where we ventured a little bit too far to starboard. As soon as I heard us hitting bottom, I quickly put it in neutral. The boat came to a stop, and I soon realized we were soft grounded. Tide was still coming in, so I wasn't too worried, but we had some helpful boaters that came by also.
Yeah. Wait. I don't think so. Parallel to the beach. Don't go closer that way. There's a
Yep.
Are you on the ground?
Yeah, I started scraping and I stopped it, so I'm not going to push it.
Okay. Just wait for the tide, but don't get closer that way.
Yep, I'll go that way. Thank you.
This goes parallel here. It's all treads. And don't go out that way.
All right.
There's a big sandbar there.
Gotcha, thanks. It's always nice to see boaters concerned for others, and it was definitely helpful to get some of that local information. I was still a little leery about getting so close to that beach. After a few minutes, the tide rose, and we slowly drifted off into safer and deeper water. Yeah, I got 8 feet now. Yeah, we should be all right now.
I think he's got it.
Yeah, finally. Thank you. We weren't completely out of the woods yet. There was one more sandbar to get through, which is right here on the left. Notes in Navionics say stay far to the right to avoid that sandbar. We took a well-deserved sigh of relief when we made it to the main portion of the cove, where the waters were 15 feet deep in most places. Going back and reviewing our GPS track, you could see where I indicated the rock where we ran aground. Zooming in, you could see where I veered off a little too far from that beach. You need to stay closer, as I did on my return when we exited the cove.
Nice little protected cove. Here's the inlet we came in, and this is at low tide again. You could see the jetty, the rock wall over there that you need to avoid. You have to come all the way in this way and then around it and in. And you could see that little boat squeezing its way through. Not a whole lot of room. And we bumped the bottom just a little bit in front of where he was. So you got to be really careful. I would not come in here at low tide. We were about an hour above low tide, so tide was coming in. So worst case, if we did hit bottom, we could wait it out. And that's exactly what happened. I wouldn't want to do it again. So wait for high tide before coming in here. Here's the inlet up close at low tide. How we thread the needle through here, God only knows. But there's just a narrow inlet right here. It drops off, I guess, pretty deep, pretty quick once you walk in, but it's amazing I made it through this far. Tide wasn't this low when I came in, but out in the distance you could see the private homes have their own docks and a bunch of boats. I'm sure they know how to get in and out of here. So if this is low tide, I'm right at the water's edge. It slopes gradually down. You could see the high tide is about 6 feet, 5 feet up. So where I'm standing right now, there'd be 5 feet of water, which would be plenty for me, most boats, to come in. The biggest problem, if you're coming in this inlet, you can see it's all stone. It's not soft sand, so you know, you could cause some damage to props. You know, you're coming in here super slow. Everybody comes in nice and easy. But you'll know it if you hit these rocks. You know, usually if it's soft sand, you'll hear it. You'll kick up the sand a little bit, give you some warning. With these stones, you actually hear it scraping on everything pretty quick. So make sure you take your time coming in. So here's the point where you round from the outer harbor, which is the most dangerous portion. Come through this crossing here, and that takes you to the inner harbor. And you can see happy hours way out there. You also, just before you reach the inner harbor, there's a sandbar that juts out into the channel. You got to watch out for that, so you got to stay more to the right as you're entering the inner harbor.